Alright, we are going to start with 1-point perspective. You are going to need a ruler and a pencil. Alright, so we have one vanishing point in this area. We're going to start, you can use your ruler to do this. You're going to draw a rectangle. I want you to draw a J, which you can draw like an outline. And let's make another, let's do a house. A house. Okay, we're going to kind of clean up these lines. So with 1-point perspective, you're starting from a face. You're starting from a plane figure, two-dimensional, flat face, and then we are going to create sides that go back into space to make these look three-dimensional. For this project, straight lines do matter. So take your time, use your ruler. I will be able to tell if you do not use a ruler. Okay. Erase parts we don't need. Okay. So essentially, the rules for 1-point perspective are all of the vertices and rounded edges, the farthest points of the rounded edges, will be connected to the vanishing point. If you have a vertex that would go through a shape, or if you had a line that was going to come and hit another shape, it just stops as soon as it hits something else. So what this would look like, if you're lightly connecting these, we're not keeping all of these lines, so you want to make sure these lines are light. So the house, the only ones that would touch, this one would go through, this one would go through, so we're not going to do those. The J is going to be the hardest. There's lots of little points, vertices here that are definitely going to be connected. I could have done that a little bit better. Very sharp pencil also helps. So even on this little side, you're going to see just a hair, but as soon as it hits another part of the shape, it's going to just stop. So this is what I have so far. Okay, now with this rounded edge here, a lot of people will just line it up and put a line going to it somewhere. It's not quite how it works. So you want to use this vanishing point as a pivoting point, and you're going to pivot it until it is at the very edge of the rounded part of the shape. That is where you will connect your line to the vanishing point. Once you have all of those connected, we're now going to pay attention to kind of the parallel, we're going to create parallel lines of the sides of the front face. Okay, so I'm going to start with this line. I need to keep my ruler parallel, and I'm going to just draw a line in between those two converging lines. Now I've created a new vertex, which I will use. So keeping my ruler parallel to this bottom side, I'm going to line it up with that new vertex that I just made. and draw a line between these two converging lines. That is going to finish my three-dimensional form. It was a shape, and I've just turned it into a form using linear perspective, specifically 1-point perspective. Okay, so same goes with the J, keeping it parallel. I'm going to choose some spot to stop. Okay, keeping it parallel. Now, this part is a little tricky because you can't really say a line is parallel if it's curved, but you want to follow this general shape. So if I were to just kind of draw that J again, you want it to be about the same length, but you're not going to draw it through these areas. So you're actually not going to see the curved part at all because it's covered up by this part that's kind of sticking out. So right now I'm just going to try and get this thickness the same as the top. So it kind of looks like it's about the same thickness. Again, I'm trying to recreate this curved line starting here. Okay, and that's all you would do for the J. And then of course for the house, very much just like the rectangle. Keeping your ruler parallel, find a spot, keeping it parallel to this side, go to that vertex, and finish it off. Okay. At this point, I want you to leave all of these extra pencil lines, but you are now just going to ink the actual three-dimensional forms. So here they are in ink. If you do find yourself with extra time on your hands, maybe you finished these really quickly, maybe you already knew how to do this and so you're like an expert. You have some extra time. You can add some color. If you are going to add some color, I would erase these. I'll show you what you can do with some color after I'm done showing you 2-point perspective. So now I'm going to show you how to do 3-point perspective. Unlike 1-point perspective, where we started from a front face, 2-point perspective, we're starting from the corner of, typically it's a rectangular prism, so like a box, a cube. So here is our horizon line with 2 vanishing points. Okay, what I want you to do is you're going to make one line that is above and slightly below. Okay, pretty tall, but slightly below. And then let's do one at the horizon line because it's definitely different when it's really close to the horizon line. Let's maybe start just a hair below and then bring it down. Okay, these are going to be edges of boxes. So let's start with this top one. So you are going to be connecting a whole side to not just one vanishing point. You're going to connect them to this side as well. Okay, I've changed my mind. Let's bring this one down quite a ways. Okay, so when you're making a box that just so happens to go above and below, it's pretty easy because you can't see the top or the bottom of this box. So just like before, you're going to get your line parallel to that first line, and then you're going to find 2 little spots to stop, and that is my 3-dimensional box here. Okay. Now, when you are below, it's a little bit different. And in fact, let's bring this down lower so you guys can really see what a top would look like. So you really want your lines to be nice and vertical. Just like this other one, you're going to connect it to both vanishing points, the top and bottom of this line. So as soon as you hit an object, just go ahead and stop. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing we did here. That's the next step. Find a couple spots to draw your parallel lines, kind of show the ends of these sides, okay? Now we have two more spots that need to be connected. So we're up above, right? This is our eyes, so we can see the top of this box. So we have two new vertices that need to be connected to these lines. So this right one needs to be connected to the left vanishing point, okay? And then the left vertex needs to be connected to the right vanishing point. As soon as I cross over this line, I can stop. Okay, so the same would happen if I drew a box up here, but because it's above our eye level, which is the horizon line and vanishing points, we would see the bottom of the box. So it'd be done similarly to this. So I'm going to go ahead and ink my final forms. So here you can see that I have inked them. Please leave your converging lines in pencil so I can see that you have done it correctly in your notes. One thing I want you to add at last is starts from a corner, and then on your 1 point perspective, this one starts from a 2D face, which is just a shape. If you want to add color and value, here is an example. Pay attention to where the light might be coming from and where the darkest areas are.